He's Jan, and that's Dave. And together we're restoring an A-26 Invader bomber with the help of some amazing volunteers. So come along and join us on this amazing journey.
So last week we absolutely killed the co-pilot clamshell canopy, and it works like butter. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm really happy about that. But I got some texts over yesterday afternoon about the arms that hold the canopy when it's in the wide open so it just doesn't fall on its own, about whether the arms should be reversed. So I spent a lot of time this morning and talking about it in our morning meeting about the proper way, and this is what I'm talking about, is this arm with this little spring-loaded knobby here versus this arm. This arm is actually the part that actually locks the canopy where it can't move. This one's just kind of a snubber. Now, according to the text that I got, this is the one that should be in the front. And from a purely logical sense, that makes sense. Easy for the pilot just to reach up in front of him, push that up, and then he can close the canopy. So I did some checking on the books, and that's something that we always do. We check the books to make sure that our aircraft aligns as well as we can, despite the conversions that it's had over the years or other practices of maintaining this aircraft, to try to put it back to book specs. I checked in the A26B model book. I checked in the B26K model book, and I consulted Air Corps Library. Every one of them said that this goes in the back, and the co-pilot or pilot, either one, are going to have to lift this up in order to close the canopy. And we talked about it. We've decided that what has happened is it's easier for the pilots to do it up front. And maybe that makes sense. But the other thing was I checked with pictures that I have of Special K, of Hard to Get from the Kavanaugh collection. Both of them are done to the book. So in the final analysis, we're going to follow the book and do what it says, because we want to be as correct as we can get it, despite the many modifications that have been done to the airplane. We're always striving to do what's correct in the mind of the Douglas engineers when they decided to make this airplane. And the other ones were probably field modifications along the way. We're going to do this. Anyway, so did I make a mistake? No. Or yes. It depends on your point of view. Let's get busy. We got work to do. So another job that we need to do, you've heard about it before. We need to put Zeus fasteners in these two bonnets. So I think that's going to be a job for today. So let me get these down and get them set up, and we'll go from there. Just got a call from Flight Deck Avionics. Called me, and they told me they had tested our boomerang antenna, and apparently it tests out good. And I also cleaned it up from last week. Got a few fingerprints on it now, but all in all, it looks really good. So now our big question is, where will it be effective? Probably most effective will be up there in front of the ADF football, but that gets really busy behind the clamshell canopies. We also have another space back in here for another antenna Will that be effective for an ILS approach, or will the airplane get in the way of that signal? Don't know, but I guess we're going to find out. We started putting these Zeus fasteners in the carburetor bonnets. We ran into kind of a problem. The book says that everything around here should be this Zeus FA 6.5 by 55. Well, that's all well and good, right up until you start looking at where this mounts. And if you notice, this is fairly thin sheet metal up here. It's got this curl on the edge, but this is probably like 40 thousandths. Well, down here on these, the skin is a lot thicker. Well, those seem to fit the 55s. In the existing ones that we still had in there, they appear to be 45s. So now I've got to find some 45s. I've put in a call to Air Corps Library to see if they have any up there. And we'll see if we can get the rest of these mounted. Well, Master Fabricator Jan, he's at it again. Let me show you. So we got to make all of the mounting and the antenna holes in that match the fuselage. So we came up with a template. We were able to set this on here and figure out where our holes needed to be. And we transferred them up to here. And so that's what the pattern of the antenna looks like. So Jan's laid out all the holes. He's looking for a jig because there was a nut plate here and a nut plate here. Well, we're not going to be able to use that. We're going to have to come across here to catch that hole and that hole. And then we got to do those two as well. So we'll get this up here and see what it looks like.
Where to get busy up there, isn't it?
All right, well, we've got all of the holes drilled for the antenna. Hang on just a minute. And there she is. We still have to put nut plates under here, but I'm out of time today. We'll do this on Friday. But one more thing getting done. Then it'll be up to the Sparkies to get the antenna coax from here up to the instrument panel. It's Friday morning. We're doing little jobs. I've mentioned before that there's lots of little things going on. But I also showed you the Enunciator panel last week. Let me turn this camera around. Okay, so here's the panel. Now, Bob, who's going to be camera shy, but he's going to explain some things going on here. This has a dimming feature in it, and he hasn't got to the point where he can dim these, so that's why these are covered up with tape. But I'm going to have him plug this in and walk us through what's going on.
So right now, when it's set up that when you first power on the aircraft, the panel will come up and do a self-test and illuminate all the LEDs. And then it'll revert to normal operation, which indicates those sensors that are out of limits, which would be normal with the aircraft not running. And because these LEDs can be very bright, there was a need to be able to dim them or adjust them accordingly. So when it first starts up and after the initial self-test, then it reverts to the lowest setting. And then each time you press the test button, it changes intensity until you get it to where you want it. Right now there are 4 settings, so you can wrap around to any of the 4 settings.
Well, and it's even prettier than it was the other day. Well, so he still has some software changes to make. You probably noticed that the fuel pressure light wasn't on. That's not working yet. And yeah, it's just all about the software, and then we can get this thing installed and see what it does. I don't know if that's going to be today, but we'll see. Anyway, I showed you the other day when I was here that we had some Zeus fasteners that were incorrect for the application, even though the book said to do one thing. And I've told you, we like to do things as the book says. But the Zeus fasteners need to be correct for the position they're in. And I showed you the differences between the thicknesses of the standard stainless steel bell and then the heavy duty front edge. It's made out of aluminum and it's much thicker there. So let me show you something. This is what I was talking about. This is the one that the book said that used everywhere, but this appears on the on these inlet bonnets that these are only in the position of where it meets that thicker part of the thing. On the other ones, in these bonnets, there was a mix. So this is a dash 55, and this is a dash 45. You might be able to see it right there. And that was the lion's share of what was going on here. So getting, once you crimp these grommets in, they're really painful to get out. But that's what we're doing. We're making these. So this one in here is a dash 50. This is when we first discovered that there was a problem. This is the 55, and it just allows the bonnet to be open here, as a matter of fact. So these are the last two I've got to peel out. We'll get those out and then get everything cleaned up and make sure that there's no issues, and then we'll crimp some more Zeuses in.
Hello fans and viewers of Mustang Bob 51 channel. This is Jan here. Bob has asked me to do a demonstration on some Zeus fasteners and grommet installations we do on thin sheet metal parts, specifically on the carburetor inlet air control boxes that we've done here. You can see the grommets and the fasteners here and how they've been crimped on. Now these carburetor inlet control air boxes, they control the air to the carburetors in one of two ways. One of them is direct ram air through the front of the cowling nose, and the other one is if the pilot switches over the carb ice, it will run a door in this box over here. In this box over here. Here's where the air would normally come in. And then if the outside air temperature gets to be 55 degrees or less, the pilot will be more concerned about carburetor icing. When that happens, he can control it. He can control this door down here. Here's where it would enter into the carburetor. Here's the normal situation right there. Then if he opens that up, that shuts that off the ram, but then air can come in from the bottom of the cylinders, where hot air will get off those cylinders, come back into the carburetor, keep the ice from forming. Anyway, I'll set up here and we'll do a demonstration how we set those Zeus fasteners. Here we have the individual Zeus fasteners. It's a quarter turn flush head fastener here with the grommet. And then this is the setting tool that will go into the handheld hydraulic squeezer. We'll squeeze those together in the panel. Since we have all of these Zeus fasteners already crimped in place on both units, as you can see, what we'll do is we'll take this spare panel that we have over here, and we'll set this up so that we can put a Zeus fastener into this hole here. So the first thing I'll do is take the Zeus fastener here, insert it into this hole. Then I'll take the grommet, and we'll put it onto the Zeus fastener. Okay, next I'll take the handheld hydraulic squeezer here. We'll turn it on, make sure that it's going to make pressure when I start to move the handle here. And we'll get the ram to start making some progress. Come over here. It's really important that I push towards me as I'm pumping this. Then I'll release the pressure, and there's a newly crimped on Zeus fastener. So I hope you enjoy this little process. See you. Bye.
All right, today's been, we've got some pretty good stuff done. It's all time consuming. Hang on just a minute. So we got all of our Zeus fasteners installed all the way around. These can go on. Both of them are ready. We also, these are a different type of Zeus. They're a wing nut type Zeus, and we needed one for right there. So we had a spare cover that we took one away, and I blasted it because they were, in this one, were pretty rusty. So I blasted it, and I've got it started painting. So Monday we'll try to get that installed. The next thing that's probably going to happen is we're going to try to get these boots. These are the inlet boots for the carburetors. These will get bolted down to the carburetor, and then that inlet bonnet goes on here in this groove, and then that gets clamped in. So that's going to be a special day. That's probably going to be an all-day thing. So anyway, if you found any value in this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe and like, share out my videos. We're pretty proud of what we're doing here, and it's a worthwhile project. So let's see what we get done next week, and I hope you join us, and thanks for watching.